So today, talking about ADHD, about you as a parent and how you make connection with your child. Now, many times we think about, hey, my child has ADHD, they've got challenges, they've got concerns, and we want solutions for our child right away, but we fail to think about ourselves. And that's really where the answer lies. If you want to raise yourself up and being able to see your child have greater success, this is where you need to start, is starting with yourself. And you have the power to do it, you have the ability to do it, and you can get support to be able to move forward. Now, there are a couple barriers that I want to teach you about today that you can think about so that you can be more aware and that you can raise yourself up. Now, in our brains, okay, we have neurons that make connections that are paths. And if you think about paths in our brain, this is really, really similar to going outside and you have this patch of grass and you have this door and you have that door. And the easiest way to get from door A to door B, buildings, whatever it is, rather than going around the square of grass, you just cut across the grass, okay? It's easy, it's shorter, it's more convenient. And so you do it again and again and again. What happens to the grass? Well, the grass gets trampled down and this rut forms, this path forms in the grass so that it's worn out, and then it becomes even easier. The grass stops even growing there, so you don't even have to worry about if the grass needs to be mowed. It's just easy. But if you then look at that grass and you say, hey, you know what? I don't like that being there. I want my grass to be grown up. I want a different lawn, whatever it is. You've got to do something different. And so then you purposely make yourself walk around. And eventually, over time, and maybe with some help along the way, that grass will grow back in and your lawn will be full again. It won't have the pathway. Well, that pathway that forms in the grass in the first place, that is like I'm running out of rooms here. That's a habit. But it's not a habit in the way that we think about habits, like, oh, hey, I have a habit of every morning I get out of the shower and then the first thing that I do is I brush my teeth. Or I have a habit that I read a book before bed, and if I don't read a book, I just feel out of sorts, okay? Those are habits that we get into that are built into our routines. Our brains have habits of how they respond to situations within our day, how we respond to other people, and how we respond to our children. Now, these habits don't just form by themselves within ourselves. We also have to think that these habits have come from somewhere else, and this has to do with, here I am trying to parent my child, and I'm trying to do what I feel is great. But I have to remember that much of my life, of when I was forming my brain and forming those neurons and figuring out what I'm going to do and who I'm going to be, were spent with my parents. So part of their habits have been picked up by me, their way of thinking, their way of interacting. And it's not even that simple. You have to consider that they had their parents, your grandparents, and they had their parents. And yes, each of these curves is a little bit different, but they all overlap, which means that you have generations inside you of habitual thinking that maybe for the most part are working. And maybe you can get by. We as a people, as when we hit our early 30s, so much of our life is routine. We grow up, we're trying to figure out who we are, we get out of the house, maybe we go to college, maybe we get married, maybe we start a job and we move away and we get into a new routine and we discover more about ourselves. And then by the time that we're in our early 30s, things settle down a little bit. And then we go on autopilot because life tends to repeat itself again and again. We stop having to strive so much to figure out who we are, and we stop having to take on brand new challenges. And yes, we have kids, and yes, they are a challenge, but we live in the same house and we're doing the same things and they're going to school, and we just are in this rut of life. And we fail to remember that we can make changes because our whole life was full of changes. But it feels good to do the same thing again because we can run the same program in our brain. We can have those same pathways go in our brain. We can walk through the grass in the same way until you have a thought that, hey, I want to do something different. I want to be able to connect with my child with ADHD in a new way. I want to raise myself up and I want them to have a different life than me. I want to respond to them in a different way. I want to engage with them in a different way. I want to connect with them in a different way. So, the first step really in helping your connection with your child is to recognize that you have challenges in your own way of thinking. You have habits. The challenge then being is for you to sit down and to think, wait a minute, what are the things that I am doing again and again? How do I respond when I am getting frustrated with my child? What is it about me? How can I change what I'm doing or what I'm responding to? And if you want help, reach out to me. This is what I do. I'm a parent coach for children, teens with ADHD. I am a coach for you to be able to raise yourself up and connect and make your family even more fantastic.